Well, we're in a little village now, just south of Bury St Edmunds, a few miles south of Bury St Edmunds, called Great Whelnetham, and the church is called
St Thomas's of Canterbury.
St Thomas's of Canterbury. A long name. Let's have a look at this church. And looks like the rector's got his own parking place. It's a nice little entrance, gravel drive. Oh, and there's a really picturesque little church. Now that looks as if a committee designed this church. The front half is rendered and painted with a very untypical tower. Well, untypical for this area that I've seen. And the back, which is rendered, is not painted. It looks a little bit of a licorice or salts. Very, very picturesque. And a lovely graveyard. It's like a little island set in a sea of chaos because there are houses around us here. And there's a school with children playing behind us. And then you've got this lovely, calm, very, very picturesque churchyard. Birds singing. Beautiful. Of course, it's a lovely spring day and the blossoms are coming out. All around. Birds soaring. Very, very lovely. Another mixture of gravestones. Some fairly recent and others looking quite ancient. Beautiful setting here. Lovely flowers and bench. What a charming little spot here. Just have a look at some of these gravestones. This one, for example, is
1991.
Yeah.
And 1960 and 1982. So it's 3 people.
The whole family. And then around here we've got older ones.
There's James Wilson, who died in 1931, and Sophia, his wife, who died in 1927, aged 82.
Well, she lived to a good age again. There. Looks as if it was made in metal. Ah, it's for a child. Gone but not forgotten.
Aged 11 years, Gladys Ivy Bloom.
That looks very Art Nouveau. All the history here. Some poor parents who buried their child of 11 years. Very sad. This area of the churchyard here has been, grass has been cut. Not sure what the significance, whether it's a family or a group who's cut that. Birds singing everywhere. Let's have a look inside this church. Rather monumental one. Very picturesque as well. Now the back of the church was rendered but unpainted, and at this side the front half has been painted. I wonder if they intend to do all of the church. It's very unusual. It's clad in timber. Unusual window too as well. Wow. Feels very old, this church. It smells kind of musty. Oh, there's a lovely model of the church. It's probably done by some children. That's charming. And the font with a nice wooden top and flowers.
Died in the wars.
Memorials to the war dead. So this church in this the wide, very wide bit at the side here. It looks as if it's well used with children being here. They maybe have some recitals here, perhaps. You can imagine maybe some music recitals here. Well-worn floor, and the same red and black tiles that we find in a lot of these local churches. They vary the pattern a bit, but the tiles seem to be all the same. Quite echoey up here.
The Reverend Thomas Lord, I don't know, years, rector of this parish, died on the 6th day of August, I don't know, in the year of his age.
These monuments look very old, these memorials. That's
in memory of Charles Batley, Esquire, who died May the 1st, 1722, aged 55 years, and of Elizabeth Batley, his widow, who died March the 21st, 1752, at age 83.
they're again a good age. And another unusual touch are these wall tiles, ceramic wall tiles. I don't know when they would have been put there. Perhaps they were put there in the Victorian times. Nice little door with a little window above it. Another one actually there. Another memorial and a beautiful stained glass window. That is a beautiful window with a stained glass to the side. And this one, of course, plain with just a little bit of colouring at the top. Now that's little arches there and 3 little seats. This is very sweet and old looking area of the church. The ceiling is all plastered here, which there again, most of the ones we see have got wood all the way down. This one has got plastering on it. But there again up here is a lovely, another example of a lovely wooden ceiling. Plain windows and little windows above. Little alcove there. And the pews here look quite old. It's got a nice atmosphere, this church. There again, like a lot of these Suffolk churches, the atmosphere is very homely and welcoming. Let's have another look outside. Another model here. And that looks like somebody's lovely little garden with their greenhouse. Churchyard. With the inevitable wheelie bin. But a lovely bench which has got on it.
In memory of Keith Hubert Plume from his friends 1942 to 1992.
Oh, that's nice. It's nice to see benches like that. A lovely, beautiful tree with a lot of people at rest underneath it. Always a good spot. We can hear the children in the background. They've got their life ahead of them, and these people, they've had theirs. This part of the graveyard has just been left to its own devices. There's a lot more over here, actually. Actually, the graveyard is bigger than I first imagined. So we've got gravestones here going right near the road. We've got the Suffolk countryside beyond. This person, oh, there was a person here and here. 1902 to 1948.
1904 to 1984.
So 1984, somebody was buried, which is not that long ago. So it's a mixture, this churchyard, of overgrown, left to nature, and actually gravestones overrun with weeds and things. And then other parts of it are well manicured. I don't know how the decision's made or who makes it. Somebody's at work over there. Late. I would suspect, and hopefully somebody will put me straight, but this is an older part, possibly of the church, and this part is perhaps newer. Maybe it was restored, maybe the original tower had disappeared, or did it not have one, because that tower is certainly out of keeping with the churches here. And obviously this church is very old. It's a nice gravestone. Here I've got a good view of the churchyard. And here again we can see that parts of this churchyard are well looked after, well manicured, where others are just left. Another bench. And this one.
In memory of Joyce Grimwood.
Well, we remember Joyce Grimwood. The bench has been kept up as well. It's been stained. And here's a couple of little wooden
Rich and Joyce Grimwood together again.
and this one. I wonder how long that's been there. Fairly basic. Fairly basic. This amongst the graveyard, full of a mixture of gravestones and sort of monumental tombs almost. This has this church has, and the graveyard has a completely different feel to it to some of the ones we've seen recently. If I use the word run down, it's not a criticism, it's just the feeling that you get from it. But certainly the tower gives it a completely different feel.